is London News here on Sunday evening at 8 o'clock at night almost, and it's nearly 11 o'clock in Wales. So Mark has got a few complaints about the tax department, which of course is unique to England, isn't it? Or it's everywhere. And of course, the wonderful councils, and we had the same problem with councils here, but they're a little ahead of us in England. They turn life into a real misery. So, Mark, what's happening up there in Wales with you anyway? And the tax department, which is sounds a bit fishy, and of course the council, they should be on the water anyway, as a private corporation. So, what's the story, Mark? Oh,
Um, it's it's going back a year or more, 18 months, and it's all deriving from the council. The I every year get audited as I'm self-employed, and with our income, we always get it's called tax credits with the family. My wife doesn't work. I'm self-employed, and we're and it's been perfect. Everything just balances out. Some years we have been paid maybe too much, so parts get paid back, uh, and everything's straight to the point. This one here is a new girl, audited us, and it, after various question after question after question for about 2 months, 3 months, they decided to state that the tax credits we'd had were not due from January 2020. And they put that on the basis of, because we rent our house off our family, my mum and dad. My mum died in January of 2020. And within these questions and the audit, I think she's just trying to get to anything to make a claim. That's how it seemed. And they came up with that we don't believe the rental of your property is based on a commercial basis. And I'm further asking the questions, why? Because I'm renting off my dad, uh, which they've known for my mum and dad for 10 years. She decided to, no, we don't recognize it. We'd like to see his tax returns. So I couldn't provide his tax returns. I was like, it's nothing to do with me. Yes, he's my dad, but I have no control over his personal, private papers, his pensions. He's 80, 81. He's quite, and again, it's private. It's nothing to do with me. I say, if you want to see his taxes and his tax returns, which he has submitted to HMRC, that on the rental of the property, he's done so. He went and got a letter. They asked for a letter from the accountant. They got a letter from the accountant, two letters, and to confirm, yes, he's paid his taxes as per the address we're living in, to HMRC. But they've never once got in touch with my dad. They never once got in touch with the accountant. They stated that we do not recognize her as a chartered accountant, and hence we're basing it on a non-commercial rental. So we are backdating it to when your mum died. Now, that is all incorrect. We've paid our rent, he's paid his taxes, and that's it. It's just somebody's belief, somebody's idea, or I think, and that's kind of where we're at. So the council they backdated our tax credits to January, and within that, HMRC, with their paperwork, have been notified, and they've backdated to January 2020. So
that's
they are now making
Australia.
a claim.
In Australia, that's the tax department, HMRC, you know.
Yes,
Tax.
HMRC is the tax man. Yes. And we pay taxes every year, and we're VAT registered. We pay VAT. Is no problem there. So now we're getting a claim, and that's the purpose of this video, is that we've just received letters from DWP to put a lien or withdraw money from our wages, so we can pay back their demand dating back to 2020. So we've got to get a notice out to, now none of these letters come with names on. None of these letters, you can't reply to anybody. It's really difficult to get an address. So I think the only one I can really point at, to me, would be the chief executive, and just hopefully address him in person, write the letter in private and confidential, and see what. Uh, well, I just we know the claim is not on me. It's not on. Um, it's on the all caps trust.
Yeah, but the
There's no
council,
conflict.
but on the council letters they're sending you, there's nobody to actually communicate with. So that obviously your best bet is to go to the CEO of that council and find out whether there's somebody on down the chain a little bit committing fraud. I mean, it sounds very
Yeah,
fishy to me, the whole thing.
yeah, we've done that. We've sent uh we had an original notice from the council dating back, which was an invoice with just the numbers. There was no um currency symbol. So we got that rectified. Is a deficient document. They agreed, no problem. Here's your correct amount with the pound signs. Please pay this invoice. So we've then sent it back to the CFO and requested in private, here's your claim. You were dating this back to January 2020. I know my dad's paid taxes. The girl there, I know that I know everything where this started from. From that uh this all started in the fall of 23. And we put an estoppel in with a conditional acceptance. I think we had 6 questions, and basically show your evidence of where and how this money, or it's not money, but this amount exists, and no problem. You've got 14 days. You've sat on this for this was now it's been over a year since this started. So they've had plenty of time to get anything and all their ducks in a row. So we just sent them in a stopple with a 14-day conditional acceptance and zero reply. Followed up with the notice of cure, and now we're on the notice of default. It's just gone total silence with the council. They've got no evidence uh, to provide this amount that they're asking. If and I'm open to it, if it's owed and we have to, it's got to be paid. But I know that it's all based on this one girl's presumption that my dad hasn't paid his taxes, and he has.
Well,
Now,
I think you've got a pretty good case to tell them to rack off. In the meantime, have a look up your council and find out whether they're registered with Dun and Bradstreet. You know that the District Corporation London is not part of England, it's a
yeah,
country.
we've looked up. They are registered under Dunabard Street. That is
But as much
100%.
as McDonald's or KFC to come after you for anything.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
you got to write a letter to them to stop demanding money with menace and trying to gain advantage by fraud because they're committing fraud. So I think that the fact that they haven't chased you as hard as they could do if they were a genuine
mm,
fraud counsel, if
mm.
there'd be somebody in there just trying to get a quid out of you for some reason or other, and they haven't really gone after you in big terms, sending demands and stuff. And I don't know,
Yeah.
seems very fishy, the whole thing.
Well, we DSAR'd them. That took them about a year to actually get the notes out. And within the notes, the first girl who started and triggered this, um, initially she was claiming that is not my dad's property. Uh, she said we want to see, right, we're gonna backdate it to 2020, but it's not your dad's property. So that got proven with the solicitor's letter. And then in her note, she's saying, well, if he does come back, because she said, oh, you're going to rebut this, are you? I'm like, of course I am. Of course it's my parents' property. Anyway, got the solicitor's letter. The reason they didn't believe it was my dad's house is still on land registry. It was in my mum's name. Now, my mum died in 2020. Um, COVID kicked in. And I think between COVID, people not going to work, not in their office properly for the next 2 years. That just slipped by the wayside. My dad did get a letter in 21 stating, apologies for the delays. The property will be going into your name shortly. He didn't pursue it. He's 79 or so at the time, and it fell by the wayside. Got back in touch with the solicitor after BCB, our council BCBC, informed that my dad doesn't own the house, and all the paperwork went through. Now, they then, on her notes, she was stating, well, if he comes back and he proves that it's his dad's house, maybe we can go for commercial. So they just, even in the girl's notes, in her little, there's this little form piece of software they must write it all in. And, she's just in there looking for things to try and put a claim. Then there's no duty of care. They have a duty of care. I've told them 100% the truth, but they pick and choose what they're going to try and what they're going to present. And, so she already knew that, oh, if he does come back with a letter and it's signed by the solicitor, I think we'll go for the commercial route. And, at the time when you read those uh, notes, you're not fully understanding. But it did take a year for the DSAR. And that, I think, held off their pursuing of the money or the amount, because they knew they had to answer that DSAR. And by the time that all rectified, right, now we go to the DSAR, you are now have to pay. And that's where we're really much at the crux of it right now there. But also HMRC's in the background with their amount. Now, HMRC have based it on the council's note. You don't think, I would say this is never going to happen to you. It's one of those, but it did. It did. It came my way without asking, and there's no proof. There's no anything. And when it does, you quickly realize how much you need to learn your rights.
Details from Dun and Bradstreet and say, look, at you demanding money with menace is a criminal offence. Gain an advantage as a private company. What right have they got to ask any money off you in the first place? I mean, it's really criminal. That's why we've set up the common law court here. We're only small at the moment, and we're getting bigger. And we're taking a CEO and the mayor of a council on the 14th of next month to the court. They've already been indicted by a grand jury of 23, and we have a 12-man jury, which there'll be women in it, of course. I say 12 men, I mean 12 men and women. You've got to be, these days, you've got to explain things because they'll say you are. But anyway, the jury, and then they will get the adjudicator of the court, because it's a trial by jury. The jury will make the decision of guilt, and the jury put forth the penalty. The adjudicator is only to keep the peace, and there's bailiffs in there with the jury when they go off to deliberate to make sure everything is done properly. And if it's a money sum that they find these people, well, then if they don't pay the money, or we'll do a deal with them, we always give people an out. We'll take their houses off them by a lien on their property. So, but this all common law comes from the UK, and I've been trying to get quite a few people over there to get off their asses and set up a sheriff's office, and we're a part of. We've got the American badge there. We're part of the American Sheriff's Association. We're actually a registered sheriff's office. There's two here in Melbourne, and recognized by the American government. And that means Donald Trump knows about us, and which is pretty good because we made sure he got the information. Doesn't mean he's going to come out and talk about us, but anyway, the thing is, it all comes from the Shire Reef in England. And that's where it started. And you need to go back to that system, because everything is privatized, corruption and fraud, and they're ruling by fear. So the more fear they drum into you, they'll give you plenty of letters and send you till you get really fearful and you'll play the game. But I don't think you're that type, Mark. I think you're you'll stand up and fight the criminal bastards. That's what they are.
Well, it is. If somebody's, calling you a liar or just taking advantage of you. There's not an ounce. I don't know if it's £20 or £5,000. You've got to stand your ground.
It's sad.
Uh,
It's sad.
yeah,
Our Royal Police Force here is I'm an ex-cop, and I started out in England as a special constable in 1966. So the
yeah,
British police in those days, everybody loved you, and we loved everybody, and we played football with the kids in the street, and every house on every corner gave you a cup of tea. But those
yeah,
days have gone. But now our poor old police force here are absolutely crime here is out of. I'll give you an idea. They were a constable was trying to arrest somebody there, and a woman rammed the car into him, jammed him against the wall. Lucky enough, he didn't get badly injured, but he took his gun out and he shot her. And he had
wow,
no other choice. Lucky enough, they're armed, and then it went on from there. And then there was stabbings in shopping centres and riots. But the government don't give a stuff about the police. They sacked Shane
yeah,
Patton was the chief commissioner, and he was in the police since he was 15 years old. He
mm,
brought up the bail system. He went back against the government because they own him, and
mm,
this poor man. I
mm,
mean, really, that's why we're pretty small, but it's people
yeah,
power, and unless you get the people channel the Shire Reef system, the sheriff
yeah,
system, you're never ever going to have peace because there's no law in England and there's no law here. And the bail
yeah,
system, I promise not to do it again. And this is the fifth time, and they've already killed somebody. I mean, I don't know. But Mark, listen, what we'll do, I'll put this up, and people may come and help you in England if you. I don't know whether it's a good idea to put an email up or something, but I don't know how people can contact me to contact you, perhaps, and if they want to help you, there's quite a few guys I'm just thinking about that could, and we'll see how we go. And if you can send me some paperwork, maybe I can write something up for you and send it back. You just email it to me, and
yeah,
you have your or WhatsApp. Anyway,
yeah.
wrap it up now because people will
Well, I
get.
just want to say to if anybody does get in touch with Barry, he does get back in touch um quite quick. You're not some fly by night that just doesn't want to help. You are there, and even if you are the middleman, that's please get in touch with Barry, and you'll pass me in for long.
I'll pass it on to you through WhatsApp, and then if they want to give the number to you, you can contact. There's a couple of guys in England that I admire over there. They call themselves peace officers, and they do make
Yeah,
some great guys. Bannerman is a great guy. I have a contact who talks to Bannerman. Bannerman was very shy up until recently. He dressed up as a policeman, and he won his case. But he's I love the guy. Anyway,
yeah,
okay,
saw
Marcus.
that.
Nothing to do, sign off. Have a look at this, guys. If anybody in Wales or anywhere in England want to help Mark out, leave a message on the bottom of the when I put up. I'll put up tomorrow with luck, and get back to me, and I will pass Mark's details on. And Mark is going to send me some paperwork, and I'll try and help him out of that. Okay, Mark. Thanks for
Thank
talking to
you.
me all the way from Wales, and it's quarter past 11 in the morning in Wales, and quarter past 8 o'clock at night here. So, and you're coming into summer, so we'll catch you. We'll talk again soon. All right.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, mate.